It's not on, is it?
There we go. And the pan's back on.
I'm just trying to multitask here.
I know, it's tough.
What was the question?
I wish I knew.
Food and social media have always been one in the same, and never more so than here right now. We have Harry Hugo, co-founder of the Goat Agency. And to the left of me, I've got Helen Saul, head of marketing at Shelter. Helen, it's a pleasure to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Lovely, thank you for joining us today. They have 30 minutes to cook the greatest of all time pasta. We're going to see how they get on today.
I'm going for kind of a bolognese sort of thing.
Lovely.
There's beef mince going on, there's ricchito peppers. I've got some sort of shell pasta going on over here. I brought some truffle oil because I'm trying to mix things up a bit. I've got a whole bottle of red wine to share amongst us as we go.
Liberal.
And I'm thinking that this might be one of the easier tasks from a time perspective. I've got cocky and I've brought some garlic bread that I'm going to make as well. Go on, Helen, what have you got for us?
I'm just going for a classic arrabbiata, so a lot of different types of tomatoes, mozzarella for the top, some nice fresh basil.
Perfect. Well, guys, you've got 30 minutes on the clock. Good luck.
Aprons here.
Great.
And first question is, you started in the corporate world,
Yes.
and then you've kind of moved into a charity now. What are the differences?
There are some differences in that what you're ultimately aiming for is something which is about creating long-term systemic change. But in terms of what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis, it's really similar. We have divisions that are looking after retail marketing, so that is products. Services marketing, so that's like getting people who need to use Shelter's service to know about it and access it. And then you've got campaigns marketing, so getting people to really help push the government forward to create change to end homelessness. So it's not as different as you might originally think.
But are you having to think about different sorts of strategies from a digital perspective, or anything different at all other than kind of tone of voice?
Yeah, so of course, being a charity, you do have to think of it from that perspective. But what I would say is, because I've come at it from a background where we were doing things a bit differently, I think that's quite useful to be able to take some of that stuff into a charity. And maybe I had some preconceived perceptions about charities and the fact that, you know, maybe they play it safe, that type of thing. And I think since I've joined, we've really started to try and take more risks. Because if you want to create change, it doesn't matter who you are. You have to be bold about that. And we did a campaign just before Christmas where we directly called out the government and we said...
that was great.
Yeah, and we kind of took the mick out of all the hacks that people use, you know, that when they say things like, you know, why don't you just cancel your Netflix and then you'd have enough money to buy a house.
And was it a charity that was close to your heart, or you were interested in before, or is it something that you've come into and had to learn about on the same? I'm very conscious I'm very busy and you're sort of doing this very...
I'm just casually...
Helen couldn't be more chilled.
No, I know.
I've noticed from the background.
You know when I said...
That's what I've noticed. You're very chilled. He's frantically running around.
Yeah.
But you're just chopping up your tomatoes for the time being,
Yeah, I'm just trying to multitask here.
I know, it's tough.
What was the question?
I wish I knew.
It was something about Shelter. Did I care? Obviously.
Did you care? Yeah.
Shelter is a massive brand. Obviously, I was very aware of Shelter before I joined. But that said, I think there's so much I didn't know about housing, about what our strategy is, that I've learned since joining. I'm a really big believer in you don't have to be from the sector or from the specific industry to do a good job. And I actually often think an outside perspective is super useful. And for me, the reason that I went into charity was I had been working in the travel industry. And then obviously during the pandemic, various stuff changed with that. Our days went down to 4 days a week, and I had a bit of extra time on my hands, and I decided to set up a podcast. And through the podcast, I was interviewing quite a lot of people who work in marketing, but for really positive reasons. And they're using their influence for good. And that was what really drove me to want to work in the charity sector.
With social media, you mentioned with TikTok and stuff like that, Do you find that actually it's quite a good platform because of how much they push like education talk and things like that? So it actually works better sometimes there in comparison, or?
Yeah, TikTok is a really good platform for shelter. We mostly use it organically, and I think we benefit from the fact that we have people creating that content in-house. Both people who it is their job is to create it, and then people that we rope in around the organisation as well.
Perfect.
So what are the other things that you're seeing across the sort of charity sector that is different or interesting to you guys that you didn't really see in the corporate world?
Yeah, so I'm not trying to change the question, but I do genuinely believe it's good to look out of your immediate perspective.
Yep.
And I think if you limit yourselves to thinking, you know, what is crisis doing, you're probably not going to come up with something that's super different than has been done before. So I do think it's good to look outside of the sector, think about other examples. It is a bit of a unique relationship. We don't necessarily see every charity as a competitor because often we're working towards the same goals, and sometimes we'll collaborate as well with other charities in order to help achieve a goal. We have really good partnerships as well with various different people. So we just launched an 8-year partnership with IKEA.
Okay.
Super exciting.
So how do those, first of all, how do they come about? And second of all, how do you target the specific brands for a partnership with a charity which has obviously got such a clear cause, especially with IKEA being so home focused?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's a mix, and we have a brilliant partnerships team. But again, because we are a really well-established brand, we'll have a mixture of people coming to us and also us going out to partners, and we pitched against other people to work with IKEA. But I think when you get that right fit, like the home thing, you can just see it. So one of the first pieces of work that we've done together is we created like an installation in IKEA stores, which is basically, it shows what it looks like to live in temporary accommodation. And it's genuinely based on actual places that people have lived in. And it's done so well, and people have shared it organically online. We've had, you know, some of the posts that we've written about on LinkedIn have just been viewed like millions of times, which is incredible. And I think it's because it comes across as really genuine, because there's a really obvious link there between home for both of us.
What's your like target audience? And I appreciate it's probably everyone, because you want as many. Is donators is that the audience you're trying to go after with marketing?
So it's not everybody. It depends on what we're doing. Broadly, we have the different types of marketing are the ones where you're trying to bring money in. So things like fundraising, retail, so physical shops, online shops. And then we've got campaigns marketing. We've got different brand segments. The latest campaign that we did was we specifically, for example, targeted a segment that we know are super engaged, they're quite young, they're politically active, and the reason we targeted them was because we knew that they would amplify our message online, so they wouldn't just like it, but they would comment on it and then probably do an action off the back of it as well. But then for something else, where we're fundraising and we just need money, we might take a more mass approach, but it does really depend on what we're doing at the time.
Well, what's happened this year so far that everybody should know about if they're watching this?
Well, hopefully everyone saw our cost of living hacks campaign just before Christmas. So that was in October. Not long after that, there was our winter appeal. Is this fully...
That's you're in charge.
It's not on, is it?
There we go. And the pan's back on.
How long's left?
You've got probably dead on 8 minutes.
You were at last minute, you were at Compare the Market, like, what got you into that sector?
Well, I started out, I did like a graduate scheme where they like rotated us around the Compare the Market businesses. So there was Compare the Market, and then there's like a French version of Compare the Market, which is like...
What's that, Compare the Market?
It's basically same concept, but instead of meerkats, they have ferrets.
Oh, right. Is it because the ferret is a more French thing?
It was some sort of pun about ferreting out the best deals, which was...
Oh, right.
More
Does it directly translate to ferret?
Yes.
Oh, right.
Yes. Have I put everything in here?
See, now you're starting to get the stress, you see. It's not as easy. Now you're starting to think about it. Depending on how many ingredients, it's not easy. What are the channels outside of digital that you guys focus on? You obviously did the billboard stuff. Did you do TV? Did you do radio? Like, what's the mix?
Yeah, so really depends on what we're doing. We have tried a bit of everything at some point, and we're always going to be taking a multi-channel approach, which is across different channels. Because we're a charity, we don't have like the biggest budgets in the world.
Yeah.
So sometimes that can limit
it's about making them work
if we
hard.
can afford like TV, for example. But yeah, exactly. It's about making them work hard.
But you do try and use as many channels as possible. It's not like we've honed in on this.
Yeah, we don't go for like, it's not as many channels as possible. It's more like, who are we trying to target for this specific campaign? What do we know about those people? What will make those people care? And
3 minutes.
3 minutes.
Okay.
And I wanted to come in on 3 minutes because I know there's a certain ingredient that hasn't gone into some water for you just yet.
Oh, the pasta. That's
So look, I just wanted to make sure that we were, you know, that there was pasta at some point.
Can you help me out?
Yeah,
There you go,
Give
look.
me a second. That's what I'm here for.
That would have been a hell of a plate up without the pasta.
Exactly. So
I'm just plating like one bowl.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, you're not feeding all of this lot. You're not feeding all this lot.
If you give me like a 30-second warning, maybe.
How long have I got?
A 30-second warning.
We're looking
Okay,
at
well, you've got
60.
1 minute now. 60
Okay.
seconds where you're at.
That is a hot plate.
It's not on full either, is it?
I mean, the flame's coming up the side.
The Italians like it al dente.
Let me just make sure that you've got as much.
What are we on for time?
Well, we've just gone past a minute. I'd probably say you've got about 45.
Okay. Okay, I think I'm going to have...
Concerned about the plating there. You've now got 30 seconds. 30 seconds is what's on the clock. Pasta's getting drained. There's some herb stuff going on over there, which is great. Very odd still that the sriracha, I'm intrigued to try that, Harry, with the sriracha on there. Garlic bread's gone on. Very deceptive bowl.
Means less pasta needs to go in.
You've got 10 seconds left. So we're looking at the plating, got 5 seconds. 2, 1. That's it.
What the hell is that on the top? Oh, it's a mozzarella. I like it.
And that's that.
Well done.
And that's that.
You can tell I'm not used to the chef finish under pressure.
Presentation is there for sure.
I like the sort
and
of
also
like
for taste,
blood
because
splatter.
Yeah, I like the blind panic of the splosh of sauce that went on though. I like that. I like that because that's home style cooking.
That's how Grandma used to make it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's not many Italians that might say that. That's how Grandma used to make it.
She'd be furious.
Yeah, she might be furious on the plating. But we will be judging these, of course, on taste. Presentation will go on to those marks, but there we go. We warned you before that we started on that one. We are going to quickly clear down and then we'll be tasting these. Perfect, it's come to sometimes my favourite moment and least favourite moment. It is time to taste these and get the judging on. I like what you've done with the artistic flair of the splatter. I think the splatter adds a lot. And what I would say as well is that we've got a good sort of like juxtaposition of the different types. We've got a summer pasta here, a winter pasta there. I could see myself sitting down, you know, cozying in with that one.
It's not garlic chicken.
But this is really nice. In terms of presentation, it was a little bit thrown together, but I think you've held it together. I'm going to go out of 10, I'm going to go for around a 6.5.
I think that's generous.
Technique-wise, I thought you're one of the calmest people that I've seen make a pasta sauce. It was so chilled, it was unbelievable. I'm going to give you a solid 8. Let's get a little bit of pasta.
You need some mozzarella in there and some fresh.
So you expect, right, okay, fine. So
just for the full taste.
let's go for that. Bit of the basil. It's really nice. It's a good fresh pasta. It's really, really nice. I'm going to give it an 8.5. 8.5. It's really nice. What have we got?
Gotta try and remember everything I put in it.
I saw sriracha go in there. You were cool and collective putting it together. Very, very together. Technique, I'm going to give you a solid 9 because you were up there. The garlic bread going in, a nice little touch. Presentation, again, I'm going to have to give you a 9 again.
Thanks. But unfortunately, it all comes down to taste.
Pasta's firmer than I expected it.
It's not a good sign.
I can taste a bit of the sriracha.
Can you?
And it's nice. It's really nice. Like I described it, It's a winter warmer. It's really, really nice. I feel like home eating that, and I'm not even Italian. I'm gonna give that again a solid 9.
Wow! Was not expecting that. That's the highest result you've given me.
This is the highest score you've got, but you've run away with this one, and congratulations.
Nice.
You've got the finish line, and that is superb.
Amazing.
That is a fair victory.
Thank you. It was a pleasure chatting to you. Like, it was so interesting what you do, and yeah, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thanks
Giving
for
us a
having me.
beautiful
I
summer
loved it.
pasta dish.
Yeah.
Actually scored very, very well.
Beautiful dish. Well, look, we've had the greatest of all-time pastas here. Thank you so much for watching, and join us next time when we create something new.